Let's bring in our next guest. Dahlia Scheindlin is here. She's a political strategist and a fellow at the Century Foundation, joining us live from Tel Aviv. And Dahlia, thank you so much for your analysis today. Let's begin on the latest political wranglings in Israel, because the key question this morning, I think, is this. Can this hodgepodge coalition, united by nothing more than a desire to unseat Netanyahu, survive a confidence vote in the parliament?
The most likely scenario at this moment is that the new what you call the hodgepodge coalition, I confess I've used that word myself up until now, can survive the confidence vote. It is a bit of a hurdle to get there because the Speaker of the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, has very little leeway, but he is anticipated to possibly extend the time until Israel needs to hold that vote by up to 12 days based on legal technicalities. Usually it's a fast, pro forma procedure. But Yair Lapid has managed to get 8 parties to agree to the formation of this coalition. That brings him to exactly 61 out of 120 seats for that confidence vote. And the government should be established unless there is some unexpected hurdle or change in the time between last night and when the Knesset holds that vote. Basically, if Netanyahu and Likud manage to pressure significantly or sufficiently any one of the right-wing parties planning on joining that coalition to change their minds. And then the bigger question becomes, even if that coalition manages to establish itself and be sworn in, how well can it function, given that those parties are, first of all, so many, 8 different parties in a coalition or supporting the coalition, and of very different ideological backgrounds. And that is what's made a lot of people in Israel, including the citizens, skeptical.
Absolutely. Dahlia, tell us more about the factions of the Knesset that make up this hodgepodge coalition. I note that this is the first time we're also seeing an Arab party in Israel form ties here.
Yeah, it's the first time there's been an independent Arab party. We can make a technical exception for a satellite party from the forerunner to labor in the 1950s, a long time ago, but there's the first time an independent Arab party has given its votes for the establishment of a coalition in Israel. It's a major, essentially historic breakthrough. The Arab parties in Israel represent Palestinian citizens of Israel. This one in particular, the United Arab List, represents the Islamic movement in Israel, making it an even more dramatic step in a country which considers itself a Jewish state. So it is an unusual situation, which I think really has changed the dynamic of what's acceptable in Israeli politics. However, moving to the right, we have 2 parties from the Zionist left, that is Labor and Meretz. Both of those are parties that are significantly committed to a 2-state solution with the Palestinians, for example, is one of the reasons why they are left-wing. Then we have the major centrist party, Yesh Atid, which has 17 seats and is actually the 2nd largest party in parliament and is the biggest party in this coalition. It's the leader of that party, Yair Lapid, who has put together this government, even though he won't be leading it. To his right, we have Avigdor Lieberman's party, representing traditionally former immigrants from the former Soviet Union. We have a Likud breakaway party called New Hope, run by Gideon Sa'ar, who will be justice minister if all goes according to plan. And we have Yamina, run by Naftali Bennett and Ayelet Shaked. This is a far right-wing nationalist party that supports annexation on the West Bank to Israel. And that is the party that received only 6.2% of the votes, won 7 seats in the Israeli parliament, is entering the coalition with only 6 seats due to one of its members defecting in protest. Over that party joining this semi-centrist, semi-left-wing coalition, and Naftali Bennett will become the next prime minister according to the terms of the coalition agreement. So it's a very strange mix. Never mind, we haven't even mentioned blue and white. Benny Gantz, who won 33 seats in the last election and currently holds much fewer than that, just 7 seats.
Dahlia, very quickly, what does Bibi do next?
By all accounts, Bibi is not even remotely planning on resigning. It sounds like he is planning to stay on as head of the opposition and make life very difficult for the coalition. He is not in a mood to go gentle into any quiet night. He is simply going to make life as hard as possible and try to bring down that government. And it's not like it is the most stable government to begin with. He may very well succeed.
Okay, we're watching closely. Dahlia, appreciate your analysis this morning. Thanks for joining us. That's Dahlia Scheindlin there from the Century Foundation live in Tel Aviv. Matt.